So, just like the title says, I have literally tried 7 different antidepressants with no success. I kept trying more and more antidepressants. To be honest with you, I even gave up for years. The last time I took an antidepressant was back in 2018, and it didn't work out great for me. So I was really iffy about trying another one, but then I wanted to give Effexor a try, or did I want to? I just really had no other answer, so I had to try it. So what exactly can Effexor be used for? So you can use it for major depressive disorder, general anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder. It can also be used for some off-label conditions as well, but you'll have to see further into that for the off conditions themselves. Now, I haven't been on any antidepressant for 5 years, like I was saying, due to them being very ineffective for me, and it took me being extremely desperate to get back to trying them again. Because if you've tried an antidepressant and you've gone through the withdrawals where you didn't have success with it, and then you had to get off of it and go through all of those withdrawals, that in itself will literally keep you from wanting to try another antidepressant. And that is what held me up for years. I wasn't seeing the benefits versus the side effects that I was getting, and it really wasn't helping me. Like, for what I take it for my depression, because I have PTSD as well as BPD, ADHD, and I take it for the PTSD, for the depression part of it, and it doesn't really help me. I'm gonna just say, for myself, here's what I've experienced. It numbed everything, but I still felt some of those symptoms that I was trying to numb. Then the good feelings that I did want to have, those weren't there anymore. Like, I just wasn't finding the happiness, and that is why I'm trying to take the medication so I can ultimately be happier. So for myself, I didn't take it for 2 weeks because I was literally like, should I take this or should I not? But I was so desperate. That's why I went to the psychiatrist to begin with, because I needed help. So for myself, when I first started, I told the psychiatrist, be very upfront with them, especially if you've had bad situations with antidepressants in the past. I stand up for my health and advocate for it. I will tell a psychiatrist, like, I just want to try the lowest dose. Oftentimes they want to try you on a higher dose, but the thing is, you know your body more than they do. And that's the thing. You're in tune with it. You're in your body all the time. No, it sounds crazy to think, but we're inside of here and we know what is going on with our bodies. So doctors, they have been to school for many, many years, and they are very knowledgeable about everything that they prescribe and all the different conditions. However, it is not just fit into one box. Like, there are differences. Our body chemistry, everything is different, and the way it reacts to your body is going to be different based off of your chemistry and everything that is made up. So with that, you have to advocate for yourself. And I started at 37.5 milligrams for the first 3 months, and I stayed on that a while. I did start to get anxious, like I was having anxiety side effects from the antidepressant. So I had 1 bad week of side effects before really noticing any changes. I was really anxious and fatigued, and I was slightly more depressed. I'm not gonna lie, I almost gave up in the first 2 weeks, but I had to continue to push myself because I knew there was potentially some benefits that I could get. And that's the thing. When you are on an antidepressant, oftentimes it can take 1 to 2, possibly even up to 4 to 6 weeks to get the full benefits. And if you can make it through these side effects, if they're not too bad for you, that's the thing. Whether it's too bad for you is gonna be all based on your judgment and not on the doctors. Like, you know your body. The doctors know the conditions, the medications, they don't fully know how you are going to react to the medication. So you have to be on top of that. So after that 2 weeks, I did feel slight depression lift from me. I continued on this dose and was less depressed, but I still wasn't able to do anything. I was literally just sitting in my chair, getting more depressed, overwhelmed about everything that I have to do, and it was making me more depressed, and I just didn't understand why. I went to the doctor, and lo and behold, I was diagnosed with ADHD, which explains a lot when it comes to the depression and it not going away when I'm taking antidepressants. So I went up to 75 milligrams with my Effexor for 1 month, and I didn't really notice any noticeable changes with this. I was also prescribed to Adderall during this time, and I started having medication interactions. Now, I called and contacted my doctor right whenever I started having these interactions, and they kind of just blew me off. I was really annoyed by it, to be honest with you. Like, when I'm having a reaction to a medication and you're not getting back in contact with me, I feel like you don't care about me and I'm just a number that you can prescribe another medication to. That's how I felt. And I was having interactions between the two medications. The doctor says it was just the Effexor, but by the Effexor by itself and Adderall by itself, I don't have those reactions. And if you look up, it does say that Effexor and Adderall can have counter interactions, but the doctor said I wasn't on a high enough dose. However, I still advocated for myself. I told the doctor I want to be off of the Effexor. So with that, he took me off of the Effexor. Now this is where it got not so fun. And I'm definitely gonna make a video about this because the Effexor withdrawals, oh my gosh. So I've been on a lot of medications. This one definitely ranks up there. Paxil and Effexor, I'm gonna say run neck and neck with withdrawals now from what I've experienced. I am super thankful I wasn't on it too long, so I didn't get it extremely bad and it wasn't for a really long time, but I definitely had the withdrawals. And that's what always scares me when going into this, because I know if the medication doesn't work for me, then I either have to switch to another medication or I have to get off of that medication. And the fear of getting off of an antidepressant, and why don't doctors mention anything about you becoming dependent on an antidepressant? I've truly never understood this. So I would like to know your opinion on this and what you think about this, because I personally feel like they need to be sharing this type of information with us, especially when you have such bad withdrawal effects from these medications. You need to be let known before you go into the medication. All the scheduled narcotics and drugs like that, they let you know about the dependencies. How come they say nothing about antidepressants when I've literally had some of the worst withdrawals from antidepressants? Going right up there, side by side, Klonopin. And Klonopin withdrawals are horrendous. So we should be let known that there are withdrawals with these medications. So one thing with Effexor that is different than a lot of other antidepressants is it has a much shorter half-life. So what does that mean to you? That means that you can experience those withdrawal symptoms that I was talking about a lot sooner. To include brain zaps, and if you've ever had brain zaps, oh my gosh, it is not fun. Now, if you're good at remembering your medication, you're not necessarily going to experience this, but if you're like me and I forget stuff all the time, I think you're gonna experience it at some point in time, and it is not fun. So overall, for me, this medication, it really wasn't a success. I'm sure it can be a success for many people out there, and I have read success stories of this medication, but for myself, it was not a success. And I think this really ties into the ADHD, because if I'm not treating ADHD, and I'll go into a long story about my ADHD because it is literally the piece of the puzzle that's been missing my entire life. I literally feel like I've been let down my whole life, because if I got diagnosed so much earlier, I would have been a lot further ahead. So yeah, I'm just glad I got a diagnosis now. Always be vigilant, always advocate for yourself. I'm always looking for more answers. Even if I got an answer somewhere, there's always more answers. I never stop looking. So my main dislike with starting mental health medications is the trial and error period. There's literally always a trial and error period. Trying them, seeing what works, seeing if you get side effects. Maybe you have to counteract them with another medication, which can commonly happen, and to balance it out to see what combination of medications work for you. Now, the great thing is they do have genetic lab testing available now, but it does cost more money to have done. So you gotta pay out of pocket that your insurance isn't going to cover. But with this, it could potentially help you because you could have a lot less side effects than you would have by not doing the genetic testing. Now, the genetic testing isn't a guarantee that you're not going to have side effects, because you still can have side effects. It's just going based off your genetics and what could potentially work best for your genes. So with that, you can do the testing. I didn't do the testing. I'm doing the trial and error period, and it's not fun. So if you have the money, the testing could potentially be beneficial, but the downside that I see is if it is compatible with your genes, but then there's something else, another factor, like say your chronic illness or something else like that going on, that could always be another factor too that could throw that off, that could potentially void that test, if you ask me. Now, that is just my opinion with this. So I will be coming out with a video on my Effexor withdrawal to let you guys know everything that I went through, because it was a good 4 days of not fun. So I definitely want to let you guys know what to experience if you get put on this medication. And many other antidepressants have very similar withdrawal symptoms. I've always experienced very similar ones. It doesn't really matter what medication it is, they're all very similar when it comes to the withdrawals. So let me know down in the comments what your experience is with Effexor, whether it be good or bad. I just want to know, because I like to hear both sides, because I read a ton about Effexor being horrible. I didn't read as many with it working great, so I definitely want to hear the good with Effexor so we can all benefit from this, because I know Effexor, even though it didn't help me, it can help one of you out there, and with that, we can all help each other. So if this helps you, or if it can help someone else, make sure to share this with them. Also, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, be mindful, my friends.